Joining us now is our friend. He is a family physician who specializes in dermatology at Cleveland Clinic. He's also chairperson of the Northeast Ohio branch of the Christian Medical and Dental Association. Welcome back, Dr. Philip Bernard.
Good morning, Brian.
All
Good
right.
to be here.
It's great to have you back with us. Now, I know that oftentimes people think of cancer as genetically linked. To what extent is that accurate?
Not as much as we would think.
Really?
I would say there's that's actually the rarer types of cancer. And at the Cleveland Clinic, we specialize in genetics, and we all know about the Barak gene in women and breast cancer and those kinds of things. But in terms of the actual causes of all cancer mortality, it's actually way down on the list.
Way down on the list. That's wild, because I think some of the testing that they require is ramped up, right? I mean, like if you had someone in a family with colon cancer or breast cancer, they're gonna crank up the time in which you get going on those tests, right?
Correct.
But that may not be the primary reason.
Yeah, it really, if you look at the big picture, which I love to do, it's really a small risk factor when you consider all the other things that are at play in life. It's interesting that we know that the leading risk factor in adults for cancer of all types is smoking. I mean, that's not, I mean, we've known it for years, and we hear about it, and most of us don't smoke, which is great. But that is the thing. I mean, if you stop smoking, you actually will do more for, these statistics with decreasing cancer, probably by 100 to 1.
Wow. And, I'd imagine as a dermatologist, you would also want to say something about skin cancer, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that skin cancer, knowing that we need the sun, knowing that we need those ultraviolet rays to keep us warm and to keep the earth warm, it's a two-edged sword, right? Especially if you're a fair-complected person, which thankfully I am not.
Oh, I am.
Yeah. So we talk about skin cancer, and usually May is a big. We focused on skin cancer in May because that's the start of the spring and summer, and but I guess we're going to talk about diet today, so I don't want to get off point here.
Yeah, and so when it comes to cancer and diet, to what extent can we have any sort of correlation here?
We've talked about it before, I think, that and that was remember the series we watched on about diet, about how we deal with our meat,
yes,
and how that affects our health. And
it was on Netflix, really popular. I forget the name of it at the moment, but yeah, we talked all about that.
Yeah, and that was really the kind of like the tip of the iceberg, talking about how health and our diets are linked. Well, the main reason why it's linked is because the way we eat has more impact on whether we get cancer or not. And so, yeah, it's the canary in the coal mine. It's the reason why America has the worst cancer rates of any developed country in the world, is because of the way we eat. And so the diet and cancer connection is very strong here in America.
Wow. Okay. So I'm nervous to ask you what food, because I'm afraid I'm like eating it right now or something. But what are the foods that are putting us more at risk?
Oh my gosh, where do we begin? Again, we talked about this before, and that really has to do with ultra-processed foods, red meat. We kind of hit on those subjects. So you have to ask, are we supposed to stop eating red meat? I think, again, it has to do with moderation. The foods that are best for us are things that are not way up the food chain. And by the food chain, I mean if you're eating things that are raised in the ground, those things are better for you. As you go up the food chain and you're eating larger animals, you are increasing your exposure to oxidation, which is something that breaks down and destroys cells. And so our love of meat is one of the things that puts us at greater risk for GI cancers and different kinds of cancers. But that's not the whole story. I think the real story is the amount of processed meat that we eat. So what do I mean by ultra-processed meat or foods? Those are the kinds of foods that have been slurried and emulsified. They started out as meat, but in order to prepare them and to make them easier to package and easier to keep for extended periods of times, we put different products in them. We add animal fat, we add salt, we add nitrites into the slurry to enhance the taste. And thus we get the wonderful products that we love, such as McNuggets.
Oh,
those
are good, though.
Yeah, only if you're getting them from Chick-fil-A, because that's real meat, real chicken.
Right. Yeah, the whole slurry phrase kind of, drops down the appealing nature of a chicken nugget.
Yeah, I'm sorry I brought that up.
That's okay. No, I'm not having chicken nuggets right now, so I'm not too bothered.
So, and what else do we love? We love sausages, right?
Oh, yeah.
We love sausages. We love our meatloaf, especially if we've had it as a kid. You still want that meatloaf.
I love
you want the ham loaf. You want the pastrami.
Yes.
That's been injected with stuff. We want our salami on our pizza, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And there's no meat called salami meat. It's a processed food, and we love it. But unfortunately, it's got a lot of stuff that increases our risk of colorectal cancer, especially. So yeah, it's the way that we deal with meat that makes meat not a great thing. So we've dealt with it before, but I think it just needs to be said over and over that it's the way that we process the food that's the problem.
Now, those things you suggested that are a problem, they really taste good. So if I wanted to stop doing that, though, I'm left with like leaves and nuts. Like it doesn't sound good. How do you do that?
Well, I mean, I think realistically, you do it a bit at a time.
Okay.
Understand that your body needs protein, and meat is a great source of protein, but so are nuts. So are different kinds of fish.
I like fish.
Protein is you can get protein in different ways, and we actually know that as we get older, we don't eat enough protein, and so you have to look at alternative forms of protein that's needed for good health. Obviously, one of the best diets you can get is a Mediterranean diet, and we've been talking about this for years, which includes fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, whole wheat bread, fish, olive oil. Those are all good things that we know will work well with our GI tract the way God made it.
So now, if somebody made a shift and was having more of a Mediterranean diet, would that have any effect to reverse the previous dietary decisions, or is that kind of just something you're stuck with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh. I mean, I think that's what people don't recognize is that in studies that have been done when people switched from a regular diet to a Mediterranean diet or to a vegetarian diet, that if you follow them over the next 5 to 10 years, they see significant drops in cancer rates. And so anytime you start is a good time. So that's really the lesson. In vegetarian diets, they've seen 17% drop in all-cause mortality when done over 10 years. So we're talking about some big numbers that are not even close to the genetic component here.
Well, that's good information. I think it might cause a lot of folks to reconsider what they're doing, which I'm glad you've shared this information with us. Again, Dr. Philip Bernard is a family physician who specializes in dermatology at Cleveland Clinic, and he's chairperson of the Northeast Ohio branch of the Christian Medical and Dental Association. Their website is NEO, Northeast Ohio, CMDA.com, Christian Medical and Dental Association. You can find Christian physicians there, and you can also connect if you are someone who works in the medical industry as well, right?
Correct. And we have an upcoming potluck at our house for physicians, not the students this time, but for physicians in the community who want to get together and talk about how to share their faith and how to live out their faith in the workplace. And that's coming up on the 22nd of June. So that's going to be at our usual location at Hunting Hollow Drive. So wanted to make a plug for that, too.
Any chicken nuggets on the menu, or?
I hope not.
Maybe I'll bring fish sticks for you, because, fish is so good.
Oh, that's probably some sweat process, too. So maybe not.
You're the best. Thanks, Dr. Bernard. We'll talk to you again soon.